Welcome to another edition of Books in 140 Seconds. Today we are talking about Stroll, Psychogeographic Walking Tours of Toronto by Shawn featuring lovely illustrations by Marlena Zuber. This is a book that came out last year, I guess. And what it is, it's
I think so. It's 32 Walking Tours of Toronto, and don't let the subtitle or the fact it's walking tours scare you. It is not a map, it's not a tourist list, it's not a Lonely Planet thing, but it's also not an academic perspective on Toronto and its architecture. Instead, Shawn just goes neighborhood by neighborhood, talking about the history, talking about what he likes and doesn't like about it, talking about stuff that, and he does it in such a conversational, exciting manner that he talked about the Bathurst Bridge for 2 pages. This is so interesting and so well done, and I feel that I'm hanging out with a really smart friend.
It does feel like you're hanging out with a friend, and it's very conversational, and he's taking in these cultural and these architectural influences and historical influences and kind of bringing them all together and just highlighting them in a way that's really accessible and really readable and in a tone that is so respectful. And he's not forcing his opinions onto you about the architecture of a certain building. Sometimes he'll bring up what people think about it or what he thinks, but he's actually quite humble, and that kind of allows you to go out there and form your own opinions.
Yeah, and what I love about this book is it appreciates Toronto for what it is. It discusses Toronto for what it is. It doesn't talk about how it's not New York or how it's not Montreal. Instead, it's this is what's happening in our city. These are things you might not notice in our city, and here's what makes it awesome, or not awesome, depending on your perspective.
Totally.
But still, he points out the weirdest, most interesting things, and he finds celebration in the strangest of places, and I appreciate that a lot. Also, at the very beginning of the book, he talks a lot about the library, which made me like it right away.
Yeah, definitely a selling point. And I thought initially that I'd only want to read about places that I knew, that were familiar to me. And then I found myself actually getting drawn into other sections because the writing is in some ways quite mesmerizing, and I just wanted to go on these journeys. Even if I wasn't doing them physically, you kind of feel that way. Like you've gone for a little stroll and have that kind of sort of calm, invigorated state of mind that comes with it.
It's an extremely apt title, which I appreciate. One of my favorite aspects of the book, though, is at the beginning of each thing, he has a little chart as to what sort of things you should see and do. And he always wants you to dress to impress unless you go to a beach. So I like that. Anybody who has smart sartorial sense, he respects the city enough to dress well for it. So yeah. If you like Toronto, you'll like this book. If you don't like Toronto, you'll probably like this book.